Êtes-vous rapide à expédier les commandes? We get asked, how did we end up selling sewing supplies? Many times they ask me, what's my background as the founder? How did Monfil come about? Monfil came after years of selling products to Super Punch clients on the commercial side. And then we found out that after a few years, more and more home sewers and home embroiderers in the home, smaller, usually women in the homes, were using our products. So Monfil came alive at that time because we offered smaller formats to the home market. Nous avons étendu notre gamme de services des brodeurs commerciaux aux dames à la maison et nous avons fait des petits formats. Why did we include free shipping? Well, pretty simple. In Canada, it's a big country and a lot of people live in remote places and they enjoy having their package, for free. Le Canada est tellement un grand pays que la plupart des clients adorent recevoir leur colis gratuitement et ce rapidement. Nous avons un service avec Post Canada et Purolator, services with Canada, Canada Post, and Purolator, depending on your postal code. And that's the base of Monfil.ca, is free delivery over $100. Livraison gratuite en haut de $100, c'est notre promesse. Many times they ask me, what's my background as the founder? Well, it's a long story. You can follow this in the Our Story menu on the website, but basically, I've been in the embroidery world and the textile industry since 1987. Depuis 1987, je suis dans le domaine du textile et dans tout ce qui touche au textile, incluant la broderie, la sérigraphie, la coupe de vêtements, la taille, la couture, etc. Et j'amène une quarantaine d'années d'expérience que je laisse à mon fils présentement. What's Tommy's role in the company in Monfil.ca? Well, Tommy, my son, has been working with Monfil since 2015. And he's in charge not only of shipping, but inventory, ordering from suppliers, everything inside the warehouse as far as products, shelves, receiving, shipping. He's quite busy. Tommy reçoit les commandes, place les commandes chez les fournisseurs, reçoit les marchandises, les place en tablette, sert tous les clients. Donc, il en a plein les bras. We get asked, how did we end up selling sewing supplies? When Monfil was born, we started with embroidery products, knowing that we were aiming business, and our focus on Monfil was the ladies in the home, and we figured that we would add sewing and quilting. We felt that not only the women would enjoy the embroidery products, but they would enjoy the quilting and the sewing. So we added our own sewing thread, the Super Sew, and also for quilting, we have the Orifil 100% cotton thread. Nous avons ajouté la couture et la courte pointe lorsque Monfil vit le jour, car nous savions que la clientèle qui allait être visée par le site de monfil.ca avec le transport gratuit aurait avantage à commander en même temps des produits de couture et des produits de courte pointe. How fast do we ship the orders? Êtes-vous rapide à expédier les commandes? Every order we receive by noon every day will be shipped on the same day. Toutes les commandes reçues avant midi seront expédiées la journée même. Et même dans l'après-midi, tout dépendant de l'heure et l'heure de ramassage de certains transporteurs, il y a des chances que ça parte quand même. You even have a chance to have your order shipped in the afternoon depending on the time of your order and the time that the carrier will come and pick it up. Free delivery across Canada on orders over $100. That's a guarantee. Livraison gratuite sur les commandes en haut de $100. Why the name Monfil? Well, Monfil, since we were totally focusing on sewers, we wanted a name that was bilingual. or at least had a little bit of a French sound to it. So mon fil is my thread. So, and my thread is mon fil. That's a little bit of our slogan. That's how it came about. And monfil.ca being Canadian, donc mon fil est my thread. Et le nom est un peu bilingue, et les vidéos aussi et la publicité. So therefore, we're trying to speak both languages in the videos because, frankly, we cannot double everything that we do. On ne peut pas doubler tous les vidéos et tout ce qu'on fait d'une langue à l'autre. On manque de temps simplement, mais on essaie fortement de faire les choses dans les deux langues. So we really try to be bilingual as much as we can. Can I order Super Punch when I get free shipping on Monfil? Well, this is a secret, and the answer is yes. So when you order on monfil.ca, you get over $100. You can right away go to Super Punch, order anything that you want, and if you have the same name, same address, and you order at about the same time, because we're pretty fast. So you don't want to wait the next day because your first order will be gone. So we can put everything inside the same box. On peut mettre tout la commande de Super Punch dans la même boîte de Monfil parce que nous sommes dans le même édifice. Everything can be in the same box. Okay? So as long as you get over 100 on Monfil, vous devez avoir en haut de $100 sur Monfil et ensuite vous pouvez aller acheter sur Super Punch sans problème et à la fin du panier d'achat, vous ajoutez la commande à Monfil et vous ne payerez pas de transport. Ceci est un secret. Seulement les clients de monfil.ca ont vraiment l'accès de ceci, car les brodeurs commerciaux de Super Punch n'ont tout simplement pas le temps de regarder tout ça et d'aller sur Monfil. Ils sont pressés. This is quite a secret that the monfil.ca clients have because the Super Punch clients, they're usually, commercial embroiders that don't have time. They're producing, so they're not really shopping on monfil.ca at all. The products are different formats, but it's a secret that the monfil.ca clients really have. It's an advantage. Did the tariffs and the inflation affect the pricing of your products? Well, the answer is yes, and we're working really hard to find ways to come up with new products, new lines, new ways of doing things so that, we impact our prices as little as possible. Oui, les tarifs et l'inflation ont un effet, mais on essaie vraiment très fort d'avoir de nouvelles lignes et des nouvelles façons de faire pour ne pas augmenter les prix. Et nous n'avons pas augmenté le $100 pour la livraison gratuite. Mais restez à l'écoute car il va y avoir beaucoup de nouveautés chez Monfil et chez Super Punch dans les mois à venir avec un nouveau site chez Super Punch. Stay tuned for brand new products on both websites and a new website on Super Punch with a complete entire new line that will be actually battling the tariffs and the inflation to make, everybody take advantage of those savings. Do you ship and recycle boxes? Well, the answer is yes. But we used to do that pretty much entirely before a few years ago. We used to have a couple places where the liquor stores in Quebec used to put their boxes in the back, and I would pick them up. And a lot of our older clients will know that we were shipping in wine boxes, and they stopped doing that. Anciennement, nous expédions nos commandes dans des boîtes recyclées. Et les vieux clients chez nous vont probablement se souvenir qu'on expédiait dans des boîtes de vin de la Société des alcools du Québec, mais ils ont arrêté de recycler. So we are still trying to do that, but we had to make boxes with our logo and our name on it. I see that Monfil and Super Punch are on Amazon, so what is best for me? Well, actually, if you're ordering anything more than a couple items, and if you can get over $100, there's no discussion. You're a lot better on monfil.ca, and all the money spent on monfil.ca stays in Canada. So that's a big advantage. But obviously, if you're ordering just one cone of thread and you're a Prime member, it's pretty hard to beat their system where, you know, their pricing for one item is included for shipping. We don't get those shipping costs that they have. And we don't charge also an annual fee. Donc, pour un item seulement, probablement qu'Amazon serait avantageux car pour le prix du transport, ils ont des meilleurs taux, mais ils vous chargent un frais annuel pour être membre. Mais aussitôt que vous avez $100, il n'y a aucun doute que monfil.ca est mieux et l'argent reste au Canada. Can I return products if I don't like it or if I order the wrong colors or anything? The answer is yes. As long as you don't unwrap the product and we can resell it, you can send it back. But you're going to have to pay shipping to send it back. So make sure you're trying to at least select the right product at first. Vous pouvez retourner n'importe quel produit pour un crédit, mais vous devez payer les frais de transport, en autant que nous sommes capables de les revendre et que l'emballage est intact. Do you send free samples with your orders? Envoyez-vous des échantillons? Oui, nous pouvons le faire, surtout si nous avons des échantillons de ce que vous recherchez ouverts près de la table d'expédition. Nous avons une tablette avec des échantillons. We have samples right next to the shipping table, and we often add these in the orders so that you can have a feel of stabilizers or different products. You can also ask for samples. Chances are that we may have it. It depends on the product. Vous pouvez aussi demander des échantillons et, tout dépendant du produit, on verra si on est capable de vous l'inclure. Avez-vous des potins des années 80? What are some facts, funny facts from the 80s? Some funny facts is like the name Super Punch was born from the term punch. Punch, back in the days, it represented the paper tape. The logos came in a paper tape that was punched. It was kind of almost like a hockey puck, but a little bigger with tape around with holes in it. So that was a logo that we used to pay $25 per 1,000 stitches. So we would order a logo, let's say 8,000 stitches would cost $200. Think of that. That's in the 80s. $200 for 8,000 stitches. Nowadays, you get offers left and right for like really low dollars. Imagine $200 to today. Some even offer free digitizing. So it's crazy what happened. Embroidery back in the 80s was a luxury. It was a luxury item. Logos were, shipped by courier because we would get the actual roll of paper, and that's how the name, the punch, so we would call this a punch. So we would say, get this punch, get this logo punched. And that's how Super Punch was born, because that's the old term that I used back then. So I kind of mixed a little bit of the super theme with the punch and made it Super Punch. So that's how Super Punch name came around. Le nom de Super Punch fut né du nom de Punch. Punch était le nom du ruban en papier qui représentait le logo. Les logos arrivaient dans ces années-là par courrier, par transport et non pas par Internet. Et il y avait des trous sur le papier que la machine lisait dans un lecteur. Et c'est ce qui faisait avancer la machine sur un axe de X ou Y. Et les logos coûtaient 25 $ du 1000. Donc, un logo de 8000 points coûtait 200 $ canadiens. C'est assez incroyable quand on pense au coût des logos aujourd'hui. Are you adding any new products on Monfil? Oh yes, we are. Nous ajoutons beaucoup de nouveaux produits présentement. Nous en avons déjà une trentaine d'arrivés. We have about 30 new products that have arrived. So they will be advertised as time goes by, but please check it out. A lot of nice little new products. How do you compare embroidery machines today versus back in the days? Well, that's a good question. And I like to have a correlation between machines and cars today. Because if you take sewing or embroidery today, even versus 60 years ago, the relationship between the needle and the hook is the same. It's always a needle coming down and the hook turning, grabbing the thread. That part has not changed. What has changed is the bells and whistles on the machine. La machine a beaucoup changé, mais surtout les ordinateurs et les à-côtés qui sont dans la machine, tels le visionnement ou l'écran ou toutes ces choses-là. Mais l'important de la broderie a resté le même. La relation entre l'aiguille et le crochet en dessous est la même depuis le début des temps. Older machines versus new machines? Well, last week I visited one of my clients who had a machine that I sold him in the 90s. The machine is running like a tank and he loves it. It's a little bit noisier, but it's like metal on metal and very reliable and runs all day. Une nouvelle machine est un peu plus de plastique, mais les anciennes machines sont un peu plus bruyantes et sont plus résistantes.
Since 1987 with Johnny.
I'm still amazed about the creativity of our Monfil.ca clients today. Dans les années 80, nous avions seulement un déchirable, un découpable et on faisait de tout. How are thread prices today versus back in the days in the 80s or in the 90s? Funny enough, pricing, with the Chinese imports and what has been going on with the new production, the pricing have gone down. As you can see, we're selling Super B at $6.99 with free shipping over $100 across Canada. Back in the days, a cone of Madeira in Germany was close to $10 Canadian. That's 40 years ago. Il y a 40 ans, une bobine de Madeira d'Allemagne coûtait près de 10 et maintenant, à 6,99, on peut commander une bobine de Super B aujourd'hui même avec livraison gratuite. Did you ever deal with sewing people? Well, the answer is a big yes. Back when I started in '87 with my brother, we had a shop and I was actually doing the entire pattern making, the cutting, and the laying the goods. We had a table that was 120 feet long, and in one shot, we could make over 20,000 t-shirts. So I was actually designing sportswear, and I was taking care of the sewing contractors. Although I did not do the actual sewing myself, I was involved with a lot of people in the sewing industry, going from the supplies to the actual people doing the sewing. Dans les années 87, j'étais tailleur, patroniste, étendeur et nous avions une table de 120 pieds de long. On pouvait même faire jusqu'à 20 000 t-shirts en une coupe. Donc, j'ai eu beaucoup d'expérience avec le monde du textile, de la couture, des fournitures et même des couturières. Même si je n'ai pas moi-même cousu sur la machine, j'ai été exposé à tout ce qui touchait l'industrie de la coupe et de la confection du vêtement. What about stabilizers today versus back in the days 40 years ago? Well, that's a good question because that's one of the items that has evolved the most over the years because relationship in the actual sewing between the needle and the hook is the same. And the thread has changed to polyester quite a bit. It used to be rayon, but the stabilizer, like today, we have adhesive tear, which we didn't have back then, and even the mesh. Mesh now comes into regular mesh or fusible. Back in the days, we used to have one tear, one cut, and that was all she wrote. Dans les années 80, nous avions seulement un déchirable, un découpable, et on faisait de tout avec le même entoilage. Donc aujourd'hui, tout a changé. On a le mesh invisible, le mesh fusible, l'entoilage à casquette, l'entoilage adhésif. Il y a plein de nouveaux produits à essayer pour vous donner une plus belle broderie. I get asked often how creativity has changed over the years. Well, back in the days, embroidery was a luxury. Not everybody could do it. Even the cones of threads were expensive. The machines were expensive. They were mostly Japanese. The thread was from Germany. So it was a luxury item. Then came along cheaper manufacturing. The thread cost came down, and then the home embroiderer and the home sewer came on the market. And that's when it exploded with do-it-yourself. So it's amazing. I'm still amazed about, the creativity of our Monfil.ca clients today. They're really trying new products, new stabilizers, and the stuff they make is incredible. La créativité aujourd'hui est incroyable. Les adeptes de la broderie, de la couture, de la courte pointe ont vraiment un instinct à essayer les nouveaux produits et à être beaucoup plus créatifs que dans les années il y a 30 ou 40 ans où la broderie et la couture étaient plus un item, je pourrais dire, luxueux et un peu plus difficile à se permettre. Maintenant, c'est plus populaire, tout le monde peut en faire à un meilleur prix. Do I have any rewards on Monfil.ca? Well, yes. The answer is yes, because we just launched a new website on Monfil.ca and we have super dollars that are in effect right now as we speak. So, you get a percentage on your purchase as a super dollar that you can apply on your following purchase. You will see the amount of dollar. Obviously, the more you spend, the more dollars you get. That's nothing new. Il y a les super dollars qui sont effectifs présentement sur monfil.ca. Chaque dollar que vous dépensez sur monfil.ca, vous avez un pourcentage de retour et que vous pouvez appliquer sur l'achat suivant. And the beauty of this reward program is that it's going to be linked with Super Punch. Super Punch and Monfil will have the same super dollars. So you can purchase on Monfil and spend it on Super Punch or vice versa. It's going to be the same super dollars. Le même super dollar sera disponible sur Monfil et sur Super Punch et sur les deux. Vous pouvez acheter sur Monfil, dépenser sur Super Punch. Les super dollars seront interchangeables entre les deux sites. Et je vous invite à regarder comme il faut votre montant de super dollars. Plus que vous achetez, plus que vous en avez. How has the thread evolved over the years? Back in the 80s, 40 years ago, we used to buy Madeira thread from Germany, and it was, almost $10 a cone. And it was rayon. And back in the days before, I believe 1995 or the late 90s, the embroidery thread was strictly rayon. And rayon was a little bit harder to sew. Honestly, it behaved a little differently on the machine, and also if you washed it with Javex water, it would, whiten. So, the quality of the rayon was a little more difficult to handle. Now today it's polyester, resistant, you can wash it, and it's actually easier to sew. So this you have going for you today, nice polyester thread, well priced. So take advantage of it. Le fil rayon dans les années 90 était difficile à broder et était un peu plus capricieux. Et en plus, si vous le laviez avec de l'eau de Javel ou peu importe, il pouvait blanchir. Donc, profitez du bon vieux fil de polyester présentement à un bon prix et vous allez avoir beaucoup de plaisir. Digitizing. Talk to me about digitizing. Super Punch, was born in 1996 based on digitizing. That was the first thing I did back then. I love the embroidery, so I started with that. And digitizing today has gone through a long evolution where we have automated scanners and a lot of offers from overseas offering you free, fast digitizing, but be careful, because scanners do jobs, do logos automatically, and they're not always the best quality. Le poinçonnage des logos est très important et faites attention de ne pas tomber dans les offres rapides et gratuites qui viennent de partout à travers le monde. Car Super Punch fut né en 96 avec la première mission, c'était d'offrir des logos de broderie. En fait, le punch en papier est devenu électronique. Remember, back in the days, we used to ship these logos by courier in an envelope on a big roll of paper tape. I wish I'd have one now, but that's how we used to enter the logos into the memory of the machine. On recevait les logos dans une enveloppe, des logos de papier, une roulette de papier où les punchs étaient punchés sur le papier et la machine avait un lecteur qui lisait le papier et ça disait à la machine de bouger sur les axes de X et Y. Today, way different. Everything's done by email. Be careful. Just make sure you're getting your logos done by a reliable source like Super Punch.
Since 1987 with Johnny.
What's causing embroidery problems? C'est quoi la cause des problèmes de broderie? I get asked this question quite a bit. I have 3 answers. Your designs, the tensions, and the last one, and not the least, the way you hoop on your garment. If you hoop anything too tight or too loose, this is going to be a killer, and it's oftentimes overlooked. It's very, very important. And obviously, everybody will tell you about the tensions. That's very well known, and that's why today we have the pre-wound magnetic bobbins, and they're really doing a fantastic job because you get the same tension throughout the entire bobbin. That's something for you to consider. Les problèmes causés par la broderie sont souvent reliés à 3 choses: le logo, les tensions et la façon de mettre les cerceaux. Les cerceaux, s'ils sont trop mis serrés ou trop lousses, ça peut avoir une influence majeure sur le résultat. Et on passe souvent par-dessus le fait que mettre les cerceaux, c'est important. Et pour une bonne tension, les bobines magnétiques sont excellentes quand vous avez la même tension durant toute la consommation de la petite bobine. Can you describe to me your first machine? 40 years ago, the first embroidery machine I ever got was a Barradin 2-head machine that had an incorporated keyboard on it. And we used to type in a name or anything, and it was embroidering directly on the garment. It was fantastic. And they stopped doing these machines, to actually sell more software. You have to put yourself in their shoes. They want to sell software. They want to sell, machines. They want to sell thread. They want to sell everything piece by piece to you. But back then, they stopped making these machines, and it was great. We could even put a style pack on the side where it had the stock designs in themes. Let's say it was Christmas. You'd put in a style pack for Christmas and you'd have a 30 or 40 designs in there that you could bring in a Christmas tree, and I could add below Merry Christmas Johnny in a font, and I could embroider it directly on the machine. That was in 1987. And when I started selling machine in 95, that was gone. They just took these machines out of the market because they want to sell software. And that's how the software market came about, digitizing software, lettering, editing software. Dans les années 90, ma première machine à broder, c'était une Barradin 2 têtes avec un clavier. Et on pouvait même écrire notre nom ou peu importe, quelque chose avec 2 ou 3 alphabets. Et on pouvait même mettre un style pack qu'on appelait, qui était une cassette qu'on mettait avec une trentaine de logos qui avaient des thèmes. Et on pouvait mettre un arbre de Noël et marquer Joyeux Noël, Johnny. Boum! Et on le brodait directement sur le vêtement. C'était fantastique. Mais ils ont arrêté de faire ces machines. Pourquoi? Parce qu'ils ont voulu vendre des logiciels. Et ils en ont vendu. Des logiciels de lettrage, de editing et de poinçonnage. Mais c'est le progrès de la broderie. Mais je m'ennuie et je voulais tellement avoir une machine comme celle-là. Et on n'en avait plus. That's the progress. What is the biggest mistake you ever done in embroidery? Well, the second machine we bought it for production. So it was a 12 head. It was a great machine for doing shirts, but it was a little weak on caps. And you can imagine caps, require more registration, more finesse. So the entire pantograph was moving with 12 caps, and we had trouble on caps. And that was a mistake. We should have probably gotten 2 smaller machines, one for caps, one for shirts, and we got like a bigger 12-head machine. Quelle était ton erreur en broderie pour les machines? Dans les années 80, nous avions acheté la deuxième machine, une grande machine, une 12 têtes. Et c'était une machine trop puissante. Elle était bonne pour faire des chandails en volume. Il n'avait pas de problème. Mais aussitôt qu'on faisait des casquettes, elle avait de la misère. Et à cause du pantographe et les casquettes demandent plus le registre et plus de précision. En rétrospect, on aurait dû acheter 2 plus petites machines, en mettre une pour les chandails, une pour les casquettes et prendre vraiment une machine de production qui était bonne pour les casquettes. Quel conseil donnes-tu aux brodeurs aujourd'hui pour l'achat d'une machine? What is the advice you give for beginners to buy a machine? Don't buy a machine for the bells and whistles and all these fancy things they sell you. Buy the machines for the durability. Remember, it's the relationship between the needle and the hook. That's the most important. Don't buy plasticky, it's not gonna last. Achetez une machine pour la durabilité. Et souvenez-vous que la broderie est toujours la relation entre l'aiguille et le crochet qui tourne. C'est ce qui est le plus important. Oubliez les fonctions et les lumières de Noël partout sur la machine. Ceci n'est pas vraiment important pour la broderie en bout de ligne. In the end, you're going to be reading a design and you're going to be embroidering it. You're going to be putting the color changes and the sequence. So it's really important that you have a reliable machine that doesn't break and that's sturdy. Research your machine before you buy it. Faites des recherches sur votre machine avant de l'acheter parce que la durabilité est très importante. Et une fois que vous allez entrer vos couleurs, c'est la production. Donc, elle doit être très, très performante. Be careful with these automated fancy stuff that they sell you. Don't fall for this. Ne tombez pas dans le panneau des automatismes et des lumières de Noël et toutes les choses alentour. Concentrez-vous sur la performance et la réputation de la machine. What's another advice for beginners? Spend some time on YouTube. Try to learn how to do a hook timing. Remember, the relationship between the needle and the hook is super important. If you're having issues, your thread starts fraying, having problems, snapping, and all this stuff, it might not be the machine at all. It might not be the thread. It might just be your timing. Timing is super important. So, le timing de la machine est très important. Regardez des vidéos sur YouTube. Essayez d'aller apprendre comment faire le timing de votre machine. La relation entre l'aiguille et le crochet est la clé et le cœur de votre broderie. Cela, le dessin, il ne faut pas avoir des dessins trop pactés de fils et les points trop près un de l'autre. La façon que vous mettez votre cerceau, pas trop serré, pas trop lousse. Et les tensions. Les tensions sont importantes. Le timing, lui, est la 4e importante facteur dans votre machine. C'est le moteur de votre broderie. The timing is the most important factor. It's the engine of your machine. Learn how to time it. If you start having problems, it might just be your timing, nothing else. Not the thread, nothing. Start with your timing. And once it's set and you learn how to do it once, twice, you'll be a pro. You'll be a pro after. That's the first thing I used to do in my machines in production. When there was a problem, we used to have a 12-head machine. Sometimes the operator would call me, Johnny, head number 6 has a problem. I'd say, okay, get it ready for me. She knew that by the time I got there, I would be doing the hook timing. First thing I would do would be the hook timing in between runs. And we would lower the needle by hand. So you'd see the needle come down slowly and the hook spins and grabs the thread right at the right place, right spot on the needle. So check it out. Learn how to do timing. Apprenez à faire le timing de votre machine. Dans le temps, mes opérateurs m'appelaient et me disaient, Johnny, j'ai des problèmes avec telle tête. Quand j'arrivais, elle le savait. La première chose que je faisais, je plaçais le timing de la machine. La relation, l'aiguille descend, le crochet tourne et le fil se fait prendre au bon endroit par rapport à l'aiguille qui remonte tranquillement. So learn hook timing. Apprenez le timing de l'aiguille. Très important. Should I get pre-wound bobbins or should I wind my own? Well, that's a good question. Usually, commercial embroiderers never bother with winding their own, because the tension is not equal. No matter how you're going to do it, your machine or whatever tool you're using is not the tool they use when they wind the pre-wound bobbin. So your tension at the beginning of your pre-wound bobbin is definitely not the same as in the end. And even from one bobbin to the other, you're going to have, a change in tension. And that's going to hurt your final embroidery. So if you're a home embroiderer and you have time, you can play with it, you want to save some money, I'd say, why not? Try it. But if you're looking for some production and to get, better and to improve, the investment of a pre-wound bobbin is a good thing. And the commercial embroiderers, they all go with pre-wound bobbins. They don't have time and they want their tensions to be the same. They want the machines to be running 800 stitches a minute, nonstop, all day. And that's what they want. And I suggest you try both, but if you can afford it, go with the pre-wound bobbins. We have a few different choices and many new ones coming on Super Punch that are going to be economical and really nice new lines. Si vous êtes un brodeur à la maison ou une plus petite entreprise, vous pouvez possiblement vous permettre d'essayer d'embobiner vos propres bobines. Mais la tension ne sera pas égale à travers toute la bobine et même d'une bobine à l'autre, vous allez avoir des différences. Mais si vous avez le temps et vous voulez sauver un peu d'argent, vous pouvez faire ça et je pense que vous allez sauver de l'argent, mais vous ne sauverez pas de temps. Donc, c'est à vous à décider. Et si vous pouvez vous le permettre et vous augmentez votre production et vous voulez devenir un peu plus professionnel, il n'y a aucun doute que vous devez aller sur les pré-embobinés. Et Super Punch va sortir une nouvelle ligne bientôt avec des produits très avantageux et vous pouvez aller les acheter une fois que vous avez en haut de 100 $ sur mon fil. Vous pouvez aller sur Super Punch et acheter les produits. Essayez-les et c'est à vous de faire l'expérience. The choice is yours. Do the experiment. Try to wind your own. Try to pre-wound. We can even send you some samples if you want. You can ask us for samples. We have a few on the shelves ready to add to your order. Ask Tommy. In the end of your order, you can write a note before you check out. Tommy, send me some samples of pre-wound bobbin. Tommy, envoie-moi des échantillons de petites bobines. À la fin du panier d'achat, vous avez un endroit pour écrire vos notes. Il nous fera plaisir de vous les faire essayer. It's going to be a pleasure for us to send you some samples. Give them a try, even the magnetic ones. Has embroidery thread really changed in the last 40 years? Well, the answer is a big yes. Back in the days, we used to sew rayon Madeira. That was what we had back then, and the price was like around $10. Now, today, guess our Super B thread, $6.99 per comb, 5,000 meter. And our home embroiderers love this thread. And this thread actually is really popular with quilters, people doing quilting and sewing. So that's one of the things I found out, is that the clients from Montfil-d'Acier are very creative. Where I thought it was just embroidery thread, now they're using it for everything. Le fil a beaucoup changé. Dans le temps, il y a une quarantaine d'années, on brodait avec du fil rayon, polyester de Madeira, et on payait presque 10 $ la bobine. Maintenant, le fil, le Super B, fait un malheur auprès des brodeurs artisanales dans les maisons et même ceux qui font de la courte pointe et de la couture. Il fait de tout avec les madames dans les maisons. Essayez-le, vous allez l'adorer. 6,99 la bobine avec le transport gratuit. It's a lot better than Madeira. Back in the 80s, we used to pay almost $10. Imagine, $10 in 1988, $6.99 in 2026. Incredible. Imaginez, on payait presque 10 $ la bobine en des années 80 et maintenant 6,99 la bobine. What has really changed in the last 40 years is also stabilizers. Back in the days, imagine in 1987, 1988, we used to embroider caps with no stabilizers. It was crazy. With rayon thread on a 12-head machine. Imagine, this is like going to war. Now, they made up a stabilizer especially for caps. This is made for caps, 4x7. We have 4x7, 4x9, and even in rolls of 200 yards, and even 4x16 to go around. This little guy is made for caps. So you tear it quite easily, gives you support, and it's been tested for caps. If I would have had this, it would have been fun. It gives support, it's a lot easier. Plus, today's thread is polyester. Le fil de polyester et l'entoilage fait pour les casquettes, déchirable facilement, vous donne un support. Dans les années 80, une 12 têtes Baroudin, pas d'entoilage, avec du fil rayon. C'était la guerre dans ce temps-là. All right, so enjoy the new products, try them out. All right, you're gonna enjoy it. Plus pre-cut pieces, we have pre-cut pieces now. We didn't have this. We used to cut big rolls by hand. Now, you have pre-cut pieces. They're great. Give them a shot. They fit in your hoop. You don't waste time, handling big rolls. Vous ne perdez pas de temps à manœuvrer, à manipuler des gros rouleaux qui sont lourds. Les morceaux vous arrivent déjà pré-taillés. Vous les mettez dans le cerceau. C'est un autre avantage. En plus d'avoir des nouveaux produits comme le pelon adhésif, le mèche et autres, vous avez tous les produits qui sont adaptés à la broderie en 2026. All the products adapted to today's world of embroidery are available on Montfil.ca. Pre-cut pieces, cap, backing, and more. Try them out.
Since 1987 with Johnny.